It's extremely windy. We've been out here since about noon today. That's right, I've got my ticket too, and I'm thinking about getting a second. I haven't decided yet. Maybe be doing a little pool at work. We'll see what happens. What's left of the backside of the St. Thomas AME Church. And just how much money is this place helping you save? And scientists say before you actually buy your next bottle, TPD does believe that Fletcher Smith knew about the warrants for the sexual battery, but George does say as long as the storm stays further west, more than 30 people have actually applied to live in one of these homes. Focus right now is finding out exactly what happened. Well, Mika, the response was overwhelmingly huge. Just wrapped up a 12-year prison sentence. Keep in mind the search does continue to go on for the gunman. The crowd, the energy, it's really just starting to build all around. Floats just starting to come through. It's how they or other people are affected by HIV and AIDS. At Candy Cane Lane, but for now I'm next to my friend Rudolph over here. Marc Liverman, WTXL, ABC 27, dedicated to you.
And I turned my head for a second, and then the ground just started shaking. I turned, and the floor was gone, and people were gone.
Coleman Stewart was at the Seminole Grand last night planning to have a good time. He says he never could have prepared for what happened next.
The floor just kept on caving in more and more, so at that point in time, everybody was just trying to get out for their lives, so I jumped out the window.
Stewart says the second floor was packed with people wall to wall. As soon as the floor collapsed, he says it was just pure chaos, even as emergency responders began to arrive on scene.
And all I heard were people just screaming from the bottom floors and all the crying and all the commotion.
Stewart says shortly after jumping, he was rushed to the hospital by EMTs with sustained injuries to his back, hip, and shoulder. And he says other people's injuries varied from cuts to broken bones.
I saw a girl, her bone was sticking through her shoe. I believe she might have fell on her foot, and her shoe was split wide open. Other people with gouges and all kind of things on their thighs and legs and cuts on their arms, chest, fingers broken.
Many people got out on their own, but some were still trapped inside.
Upon going inside, we determined that we had 7 people that were stuck on the second floor that could not get down because the access to the stairwell was blocked. We set a ladder truck up and brought those 7 people down.
Lieutenant Bellamy says officials are trying to figure out exactly how this happened. Coleman Stewart says he's just thankful the situation wasn't any worse.
And I thank God that nobody was killed in this situation, because this could have been, something where a lot of people could have died.
It was a tense close to 8 hours here in Taylor County. What started off with a stolen pickup ended up with a standoff at an apartment building. Now, deputies and officers saying they're just thankful everyone was okay.
My husband was getting up to go to work at 11 o'clock last night, went outside and realized his truck was gone.
This woman who asked to remain anonymous says it was her husband's truck that was stolen around midnight on Monday.
Then as it went on and we realized it was a lot more serious, this person is running from the law.
Once behind the wheel of this stolen pickup truck, Perry police officers say Fred Eugene Jenkins Jr. took off, leading them on a high-speed chase that extended beyond the city limit and into the county. At one point, deputies say Jenkins rammed a deputy off the road. This photo shows the end result of that chase after deputies used spike strips, but Jenkins kept on driving on the bare rims. Eventually, Jenkins made it to an apartment on the 5000 block of US 19, where he barricaded himself inside. With the help of the Leon County Sheriff's SWAT unit and a few canisters of tear gas, Jenkins eventually gave himself up.
Leon County SWAT team did assist in apprehending him without anyone being injured, and that is a good outcome.
A sentiment echoed by the wife of the man whose truck was stolen.
I consider us blessed today, very, very, very blessed that it was nothing more than just a vehicle with some messed up tires. That's replaceable. Our family is not.
Now, according to the sheriff's office, Fred Eugene Jenkins Jr. served a 12-year prison sentence in South Carolina for armed robbery. In Taylor County, Marc Liverman, WTXL, ABC 27, dedicated to you.
Surgery revealed that it was cancer, and after 4.5 hours in the surgery room, I woke up and I was missing my breast.
For May Walker, was a life-changing procedure that still 40 years later takes an emotional toll. Walker is a breast cancer survivor who lost her daughter-in-law to the disease. Her own daughter fighting breast cancer right now. but her story just one of millions, one that affects the 150 women you see right here, bringing them together.
The history of breast cancer, I have a vertical scar from the first time, a horizontal one from 1992.
Sharon Hartman was first diagnosed with the disease in 1978, but faced 2 more bouts with the cancer since. But a lot has changed since the 1970s. Now, while these women say being diagnosed with cancer is certainly life-altering, they say it doesn't have to be a death sentence.
And every day there's more. As far as mine, just to see the changes and actually live the changes, it's incredible. So it's a good time to have breast cancer if you're going to have breast cancer.
Our cure rates are much better. The cure rate for breast cancer in the 77 was probably close to 63%. Currently now we're approaching 90%. And that's a big gain.
A big gain that Walker hopes continues.
My daughter said, "Mom, is this going to happen to me?" And now my granddaughter has asked her mother, "Mom, is this going to happen to me?" We are working so that it will not happen to her.
In Tallahassee, Marc Liverman, WTXL ABC 27, dedicated to you.
I know that I could keep my head held up high because no matter what, I came from this church. I came from this family that took pride in our church.
Catherine Gartrell says she has been a church member at St. Thomas AME since she was born. She's just one of nearly 150 congregation members. And as the dust begins to settle, each member reflects on its amazing history and what's left behind.
To look at these is actually a symbol of hope for us, because it will remind us that there's nothing that we can't do.
Church historian Melanie Hill says of the few artifacts still intact, these 5 Bibles, one nearly 110 years old. Hill says early on affording a Bible was a luxury.
You're talking about a time when black people being able to read, who at one time were not even allowed to worship without the presence of a white man, having a Bible was not necessarily the thing that it is now.
Hill says the church was founded on prayer. 144 years ago, Hill says many members were illiterate and couldn't even read the Bible, but faith pulled them through.
Our faith has to be strong, and these Bibles are books of faith, and so we will turn to them for hope.
Hill says while this building is now a memory, the foundation of this congregation holds strong. Marc Liverman, WTXL ABC 27, dedicated to you.